Hey, Dr. Mark.
Hey, Ashley.
You're a sports psychologist, life coach, business coach, sports and team consultant. I know that because I put it together. Are there any books and movies that really had a profound, like, this is what I want to be, or this is what I want to do? Anything that just hit you like that?
It wasn't like that for me in my life's journey. It's a long time ago when I started. I was an economic psychology double major at Emory in Atlanta in 1985 to 1989. I wasn't ready to get a doctorate, so I worked in business for a couple of years in New York City, and it felt relatively empty. I liked making a difference. I love the business world, but I love making a difference. And so, I went out to San Diego to get a doctorate in the 90s. It was a long road. And then I did a residency back in Connecticut and built a business and so on. The rest is kind of history. So it really was a long journey. And back then, there wasn't a lot of sports psychology. It wasn't, even today, it's not as prevalent. It's becoming more and more prevalent. We've got a lot of interns working for us that are getting masters or doctorates in sports psychology, and I'm teaching them, decades and decades of mistakes and learning on my end. So this has sort of been a gradual journey of me putting together. That said, I've read 1,000 self-help books, and I have 3 or 4 that I recommend all the time because I think they're invaluable. I always recommend The Big Leap. It's not a sports psychology book, but it talks about self-sabotage and overcoming, or like what he calls the upper limit issues, how far you're willing to go. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, the FBI negotiator. It's a fabulous book. I'm always recommending that because the communication part of it is so valuable. He talks about tactical empathy. I prefer genuine empathy, but there are situations when you're being attacked and you need some tactical empathy. So there's skills in that book that are super invaluable. On the deeper side, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth is invaluable in terms of spiritual journey, or Autobiography of a Yogi. These are deeper books. There's a fiction book called Shantaram, Man of Peace, about an escaped convict from Australia that joins the Mumbai underworld. That's a fascinating story. There's spirituality in it and courage and so on. So there's books I recommend. I just recommended a book today called The Art of Mental Game Training by DC Gonzalez, who I think was I think he was like like one of those border control agents or something, but he just has a solid style. I like people that are authentic and real with a solid style. They're not into deception, right? But they teach people to be super aware too. You know what I mean? In terms of how difficult the people can be out there, that there are sociopaths and there are, freaking people that will harm you. So I like to help people be, super authentic, but super aware.
I can't believe you left out unreasonable hospitality.
And unreasonable hospitality. Well, that's a recent one. Will Guidera, the chef. Thank you for that, because I had you reading that, right? Thank
Twice.
you. I'm all twice.
Twice.
That's awesome. You're doing a great job.
Thank
You
you.
texted me back like that. She's like on point, like this.
Read the book, people.
Look, I'm an on point communicator type, and a Will Guidera type is like, for the background, he wrote this book on creating the #1 restaurant in the world, 11 Madison Park in New York City. But his background is hospitality and restaurants and everything. He's obviously a total perfectionist, and he's learned to make it work for him. I mean, if you're going to be 5-star or 3-star Michelin or whatever it is, you're literally going to be like a complete nut job around detail. I'm not a nut job around detail, but I am really intense around communication, right? I'm really going to ask people to be on point, right? I'm definitely not. I'm not going to run a restaurant. That's
No.
like absurdity. But that said, as a communicator and, with my client base and the people I teach and love, I'm going to bring things up. I'm going to address it if you're at all flaky.